Well, welcome to Game Time and Function of X. Thank you for coming to visit our booth today. So to just let you know a bit more about us, we are a company that designs and prints educational card games. And the reason why we decided to choose the gaming format is because we believe that the interactive nature of games is something that is very helpful for teaching various skills. In the process of playing a game, you develop reading skills, communication skills, decision-making skills, and all this and more. And it's all in the context of having fun and playing games. And we think it's a great alternative to screen-based options or pen and paper options because there's a lot more relationship involved. You are interacting with someone while you're learning something. And it's also very versatile. You can play indoors or outdoors. You don't need electrical, you don't you need electricity, you don't need to be tied to a certain setup, and you can use it as a filler also for if you just want to play a short game with a family, or if you are planning a longer activity, you can also use it as a part of a longer learning activity. And it's also because personally, when I was growing up, I spent a lot of time playing games with my grandma, mainly poker card games, and so that has made me very interested in games from a young age, and I decided that it was something that I wanted to try to explore when I grew up and I had kids of my own. So today we are here to share with you some of the games that we have. I'll be going through these, and you can feel free to ask if you have any questions about any of them. Our very first game was the Pocket Tale. It's a storytelling game. It comes with two game modes: collaborative story building or individual story building, and it's recommended for kids ages 8 and above. As you can see, the story cards, they come with very colorful illustrations. Yeah, all the illustrations were done by myself, and it comes with words, and you are supposed to try to connect story cards in a way that would make the story flow in a coherent way. And this game helps with vocabulary because, as you're reading the words, you're learning new words. It helps with reading and storytelling skills, and it helps with reasoning skills. Why reasoning skills? Because each card has a problem. There's a word in bold that is the main problem in that card, and you're supposed to try to solve that problem. So for example, if it says that now they have lots of injuries, then what are you going to do when you have lots of injuries? And you've got to use your reasoning skills to try to justify why you're choosing the next card to match this card that has the injuries. And the reason why we think that this is a great product for kids is because actually, if you look out in the market, most storytelling cards only come with pictures. Which is good because they allow you to make your own story. But for kids who are younger or who might feel that they don't have any ideas, like what am I going to say about this picture? We have words there that that provides a bbit more scaffolding so that kids don't feel very lost when they just see a picture. So you have the option of using the stories that are already provided, or if you want to just let your kids have free reign to go wherever they want to let the pictures take them, you can choose to just work with the pictures only. So that gives you flexibility. You see, you can either do it with the stories that are given, or you just not use the stories and just use the pictures. And it helps with learning vocabulary because each card has the words as we mentioned, and there are words in bold, so that helps you to focus on just certain words. You don't have to try to explain every single word to your kid. If you want to just learn a few words each day, you can just focus on the words that are in bold. And they're very, very attractive illustrations. The cards are very colorful and very eye-catching. And like what I mentioned earlier, there's this conflict resolution pattern that is involved in our card game. And that's also very helpful because if you read a lot of kids' compositions, they spend maybe about 75% of the compo saying, in the morning I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I ate breakfast, then I walked out to the bus stop. They focus a lot on what they did, and they take very long to build up to the problem. So we hope that helping kids to be more familiar with this conflict resolution pattern helps them to see that actually the main thing that makes stories exciting is that there is a problem and you've got to talk about, how it gets solved and what you do to solve the problem and all that, to kind of help them to move away from that format that you see a lot of them stuck in primary school, which is spending the whole more than half of the essay talking about the step-by-step process in which they started their day. And we also offer a customized version of the pocket tail. It's great as a birthday gift or as an anniversary gift, because you can tell us what you want the story cards to have. So these are some examples of story cards that we have customized for our fans, for our clients and customers. Our second game is called Savannah Showdown. It's a prey and predator game based on the Savannah biome, and it's recommended for ages 4+ because this game is our easiest game. It's very simple. A 4-year-old can pick it up, and it helps with introduction to food chains. It teaches them about carnivores, about herbivores, and introduces the animals in the savannah, the organisms in there, some of the plants in there also, and the factors that affect their survival. So for example, you learn about like what gazelles eat and what cheetahs eat. To me, I'm like, oh, I thought everyone would know that a cheetah is a carnivore and it will eat meat. But no, when I tried playing this with my kids, it's like they thought that the cheetah might want to eat the grass. And so it helped them to learn what carnivores are and what herbivores are. What makes this product great? Like I said, it's our easiest game. If you have young kids and you want to try and find a game that they can play, a 4-year-old can play this game easily, and they have lots of fun with it. So this is actually my kids' favorite because my kids are still quite young, and this is the game that they understand the most. Each organism card also comes with a fun fact. You can learn about why a hyena is able to run for very long distances, and lots of other interesting information about the animals in the savannah. And if you think, isn't it just quite straightforward? The carnivore eats the other animals, the herbivores eat the plants. What else can my kid learn from this game? Actually, life in the savannah is not all that straightforward, and there are a lot of other factors involved in the savannah that affects plants' survival, that affects the survival of the herbivores, and you can find out why. We have the chance cards that introduces all these all these so-called complications that makes it not so straightforward. The plants don't always get eaten by the herbivores, and there are ways in which herbivores can escape from carnivores. And so the chance cards are a great way to find out more about life in the savannah. So this is our third game. Our third game is called Where's My Pizza? And it's a fractions game based on pizza. It comes with these denominators. We have halves, thirds, quarters, and sixths. And it's recommended for kids ages 10+, or for whenever you feel that your kids are ready to start learning about fractions. So it helps with counting and fractions and decision-making skills, because the purpose of the game is that you have to serve 3 customers. And once you finish serving 3 customers, you are with the winner of the game. So you have to really think about what you're going to do to help you to serve the customers. What if this customer is not getting served? Are you going to change your customers? Are you going to try to get food from somewhere else? So it's our game that requires the most strategy. Unlike our previous game, Savannah Showdown, which is our easiest game, this game is probably the most complicated because of the math required and because of this amount of strategy required. So this is better. It's a better game if you have older kids. So what makes this product great is that it's a fun way and it's a delicious way to practice math. There's a good range of fractions for beginner to intermediate levels, half, thirds, quarters, sixths. So that gives you a lot of scope to practice common denominators, because halves goes well with quarters and sixths, and the thirds go well with sixths. So there's a lot of scope there for people who are just starting out learning mixed fractions and how to convert denominators. There's a good range for that. And we have helpful pizza diagrams for every fraction. So if you saw earlier, the 1/4 pepperoni card is demarcated very clearly what 1/4 means. And every customer requires a different fraction. So if this customer wants 3/4, and we have, again, very helpful fraction diagrams to show what 3/4 mean. And that's my daughter. Okay, so this is our fourth game. It's called Breadpacking. Breadpacking is a game about countries, continents, and cultures, and it's about bread, which is awesome because I love bread. And this is recommended for ages 10 plus and or anyone who's a bread lover. This game is our biggest game so far. It comes with 56 food cards, 30 challenge cards, a world map card, and so much more. Action cards, resource cards, and all that. In case you're wondering what challenge cards are these white and yellow cards over here that basically challenge you on random questions about the world, about continents, about countries. So it's a game that really helps you to learn more about countries and continents. And if you are interested in countries and civilizations and all that, you would find this game very interesting. Yeah, so these are some examples of our challenge cards. Where was corn first cultivated? Which is the second largest continent? Do we know what the second largest continent is? It's Africa. What makes this product great? It's a visual feast. It has a lot of bread involved from the 7 continents. There's lots of interesting information about our world, civilizations past and present, and about bread in general, how bread was developed. Okay, I'm just going to pause here for a short while for Q&A. So this is our timetable that you can see on the side. At 10:15, it's Q&A. At 20:20, I will move on to talk about how you can play our games if you have kids from different age groups. How can you scale the game to suit your kids from different age groups? Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can either unmute yourself to ask, or you can leave your questions in the chat box and I will reply to your questions. If no one has any questions after a while, I will just move on to talk about how you can scale the games to suit different ages. Okay, I'm just going to assume for now that maybe there are no questions for now. If there are any questions later, you can either unmute yourself to ask, or you can leave your questions in the chat box and I will reply your questions. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next section of our presentation, which is ideas for different ages. If your kids are too young to play the game in which they are supposed to be played, what are some helpful ways in which you can use these game cards to still make it a meaningful activity for your kids? So for the Pocket Tale is a storytelling game, so there are a lot of words on the cards. And if your kids are still too young to read the words, you can allow for the free interpretation of the pictures. So like what I mentioned earlier, a lot of story cards, they only come with pictures. But for us, we have the options of, both using the stories that are already provided, or if you want to just let them have free reign with the pictures, they can try making up stories with just the pictures itself. Or you can pick a story card and you can read it together and you can talk about what might come next. Or you can pick 2 story cards and read them and talk about how the situation in one card might lead to the other. So I'm just going to give you an example. This is my daughter when she was 4. She was not old enough to read the words yet. So what we did was we picked a story card, we read it together, and we talked about what might come next. So for those of you who missed the earlier part about what I said about Pocket Tale cards, the special thing about these story cards is that they have a conflict resolution pattern. So every card has a conflict that you're supposed to resolve. Like, what are you going to do if this happens? And that's why it trains kids to develop the conflict resolution pattern in their storytelling, so that they move beyond just saying, today I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I eat my breakfast, I pack my school bag, I walk out of the door. To make the stories more interesting, they need to be able to talk about problems that happen and how they resolve the problem. But my daughter is still really young, so I read the card for her and we talked about.
We chose the bicycle.
And we talked about what might happen. So yeah, this is the bicycle card.
One? Yeah, why do you choose the bicycle one?
Because I like cycling.
Yeah, you do, huh? Let's see the words on it. It says, zoom off on their bikes. Why do you think they said zoom off?
Because the bicycle can zoom.
Yeah, it can go very fast, huh? That's right.
Sometimes it goes very fast.
Yeah. Does it go fast when you're going up the slope or when you're going down the slope?
down.
Down.
But
That's
when it's a very steep one and you cycle on it, it will be dangerous.
it might be.
You are,
Yeah.
when you see a very steep one, you have to stop pedaling when you cycle on it.
Yeah, that's right. If you keep pedaling, you might fall off, right? If it's too steep, huh?
Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about the cycling cart, and about like what might happen when you're cycling. I couldn't show you the next part, which is about exhausted and lost. So that's the problem in this card. The problem in this card is that after cycling, they were exhausted and they were lost. But yeah, I couldn't show you that part because my younger son interrupted us, and so the video got disturbed. So every card has a problem that you can talk about, and then you can talk about what might happen when you face that problem. So now you're exhausted. What are you going to do if you're exhausted? And if you're lost, what are you going to do if you're lost? Okay, so this is, if your kids are too young to read the words and therefore too young to play the game according to how it's meant to be played.
Oh, you chose the bike.
So the main aims for this, if your kids are too young to play according to how it's supposed to be played, is just to develop reading and talking skills, exposure to the conflict resolution pattern, and just having a chill time looking at pictures and talking. No pressure to start reading if they're too young to start reading. Okay, Savannah Showdown is our second game. If your kids are too young to play, these are some ideas that you can use. You can use the animal cards for animal identification, or you can pick an animal card and ask your kids to choose the right card to feed it. So for example, if you have a gazelle, what does a gazelle eat? Does a gazelle eat an elephant? No. Does a gazelle eat a cheetah? No. Gazelle eats plants because a gazelle is a herbivore. You can add lots of chomping sounds for sound effects. But this game is our easiest game, so a kid from 4 years old can play it. I introduced this to my kids when they were 3. They took a while to get used to it. But when they were 4, they were very, very confident players of it. So it's a very, very easy game. A young kid can play this very easily. And it's a very helpful way for young kids to learn about herbivores, carnivores, and organisms in the savannah in general. Yeah, so if they're really too young, then you can just use it for animal identification and distinguishing between carnivores and herbivores. Okay, Where's My Pizza is our math game. It's about fractions. So probably we're thinking like, math, very good, we want to introduce our kids to this. But what if our kids are too young, to do fractions calculations? Like if I were to ask my daughter now, what's half plus 1/6? She's too young to be able to play this. So there's no way I can play this game with her right now. But we play in this way, the memory matching way. We just get a few pairs of half, thirds, quarters, and 6, and we place them face down in a grid, like how you play the memory matching game. And then they'll take turns to open 2 cards during their turn. And if the cards match, then they get to keep that pair. So whoever collects the most pairs wins. So this is a very helpful way to introduce them to the concept of fractions, because the fractions are very clear. It states very clearly this is 1/6, and there's a very helpful pizza diagram to show them what 1/6 means. It's just a way to introduce them to the concept of fractions. Okay, and you can also pick 2 food cards with different fractions and compare them. Is it half bigger or is 1/4 bigger? A lot of times they see the number 4 and they think that 1/4 is bigger because 1/4 has number 4 and 4 looks like it's bigger than half. And that was what my son said. But if you show them the pictures on it, you can see very clearly that a half pizza is this big. But if you're only going to have a quarter pizza, there's a quarter card that has a diagram on it, then you can see that a quarter pizza is actually a lot smaller, and that visual representation helps them to just be familiar with the concept that the smaller denominator actually means that it's a bigger number in general. Okay, and you can also do this. You can pick a customer card and you feed the customer together. So for example, how many slices of half pepperoni do we need to feed Flopsy if he wants 1 pepperoni? Because this game comes with customer cards and every customer wants a different portion of pizza. So instead of leaving your child to play the game by themselves and feed the customer by themselves, you can do feeding the customers together. This is for people who are beginners to fractions. Okay, and the main aims is just fraction recognition. As you can see over here, we were just trying to find half Hawaiian. She just found the different half Hawaiian. She said, Mama, I managed to find all the half Hawaiian. So it's just helping her to be familiar with the concept of fractions. No pressure to start calculating in fractions and do addition and all that. Just recognition of fractions. And our last game, Breadpacking. If your kids are too young to play, we recommend that you play it without the challenge cards. As we mentioned, the challenge cards are the ones that test you on world trivia. So it will ask you questions like, which is the second largest continent? Which continent is this in this country in? But if you play it without a challenge cards, a 7-year-old should be able to play it. Or you can play what's missing. You can select one food card from each continent. You keep one in your hand and you lay out the other 6, and you can ask the kid to identify which continent is missing, and it helps them to remember like what the continents are. The main aims is to identify and remember the 7 continents and to appreciate the beauty of bread and learn more about bread and the countries in which they came from. Okay, so again, with a Q&A session over here, if you have any questions, you can ask me, or if you have no questions, you can, I will show you some other videos if you want about my kids playing the games. You can either unmute or you can type the questions in the chat box if you have. For the current Homeschool Fair, we have a special discount of 5% off all orders. So if you are interested in any of the cards, you can also let me know. We have a special discount right now. If you have no questions, I will show you some of the videos. So this is Savannah Showdown. It's a video of a 3-player game.
Who is who?
Who is who? Who is who now?
The cheetah eats the giraffe.
And the giraffe will eat the?
The giraffe will eat the tree.
The acacia tree.
That was my son blowing air into the microphone. So that's the Savannah Showdown game. Yeah, as you can see, it just introduces them to the concept of carnivores and herbivores. Okay, so for the benefit of our new participant who just joined us, I'm just going to replay this video. You can see the video of how our Savannah Showdown game looks like. Our Savannah Showdown game is our easiest game. A kid from 4+ can play it. So these are my kids when they were 4 years old and 3 years old, and we were trying to play Savannah Showdown.
Who is who?
Who is who? Who is who now?
The cheetah eats the giraffe.
And the giraffe will eat the?
The giraffe will eat the tree.
The acacia tree.
Yeah, so that was Savannah Showdown, and this one is Where's My Pizza? Like I mentioned earlier, Where's My Pizza is a fractions game. So my kids are too young to do counting in fractions right now. So we're playing in the easier form, which is we're just playing in a matching style, where you put everything face down and then they have to find the matching pairs. But that's not actually how this game is meant to be played. This game is meant to be a game where you're serving customers. Customers ask for different portions of pizza, like they might ask for 3/4 of a Hawaiian pizza, and then you have to add the different fraction cards together to get 3/4 of Hawaiian so that you can serve that customer. And once you finish serving 3 customers, you win. Yeah, but obviously my kids are too young to do addition and fractions, so not pressuring them to do that. This is just introducing them to fractions. So we are playing in the matching game style.
1/4 Mediterranean. What's that one? 1/6 Hawaiian.
No.
Okay, no, it doesn't match.
Then we need to choose it. Your turn, 姐姐.
1/3 pepperoni.
You do it.
And 1/6 Hawaiian.
Is that the same 1/6 Hawaiian?
Was it 1/6 Hawaiian just now? Can you open it again? Yeah, where is it?
This one.
1/6 Hawaiian and
1/6.
1/6 Hawaiian. Okay. 1/4 Mediterranean. No, wait, the turn.
I think both of it looks like these both of ones are the same.
We'll see. You can open one and
Go to
see.
check this one.
What is it? You
No,
must show Titi what it is. Oh, half Hawaiian.
I
Okay.
don't feel like seeing it.
Okay, Titi, your turn.
Mm?
1/4 Mediterranean and
I
half Hawaiian and where's oops, no, okay. Can you close both? Can you close both of them?
So,
No, you haven't closed it yet. Okay, Titi, open. What is that? 1/3 pepperoni and
what do I have pepperoni?
good job.
Yay!
1/4 Mediterranean and
Why not
1/4 Mediterranean. Good job now. Okay, Rua. Half Hawaiian and
half Hawaiian?
good job.
I have more than Jie.
Okay, but Jie can try again and maybe Jie will win the next time round. Huh?
Mama, Eddie.
Yeah, so it just so happened that the boy had a good run that day. The girl usually wins, but he just had a good run that day. But it was a good learning moment, where he won and he felt really pleased with himself. But to just teach your kids also that when you win, you should be encouraging to the others also. Don't get so caught up with your own wins. So I think that's the other good thing about playing card games. It helps people to develop interpersonal skills. You learn a lot through the experience of winning, of losing. And that's another reason. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we decided to develop card games, because we think that this interpersonal element to it is something that teaches them skills that goes beyond pen and paper, worksheets, or something that is just on the screen. Yeah.
Who is who?
So this is our last video. I can show it to you, and then if you have any other questions about what our games are, you can feel free to ask me questions in the chat box, or you can visit our website over here for more details. So this is from the Pocket Tale, which is our storytelling card game. And as I was mentioning earlier, our storytelling card game has the conflict resolution pattern. It trains people to talk about the conflict resolution pattern, and this is one of the cards that we have, and you can hear how we are discussing it, how we're talking about it.
From the staircase.
I think they tumbled down the stairs.
So
And that's why they had to call the ambulance.
yeah, I was asking them what do you think happened before this? What do you think happened such that they had to call the ambulance?
Okay.
Or maybe because when they were climbing a ladder at the playground, and when they were almost falling down, and when they let go of the bars, maybe they fell down on the march.
Oh, and so they were badly injured. So they had to call the ambulance. And when they got back, they decided to do something quiet. What would be a good thing to do?
Painting.
Oh, painting?
Sorry, I paused it.
Yeah, painting might be a quiet thing that they can sit down to do, right? What other things can they do? What other quiet activities can they do at home?
Do some work.
Like what sort of thing?
Like reading books.
I think so. That might be a quiet thing that they can do.
Or drawing something on the paper.
That would be a good idea.
Okay, so that's the end of this video.